Hi, my name is Kathy Patterson, and I'm here to talk to you about corporate social responsibility. The first question I have for you is, what comes to mind when someone mentions the term corporate social responsibility? What do you think that means? When I first heard the term, I decided that I would just dissect it into corporate, meaning business, social, meaning society, and responsibility, meaning some type of obligation. In doing so, I came up with the fact that social responsibility of corporations means a business that has an obligation to society. Do businesses have an obligation to society? If so, what do you think that obligation is? And if there is an obligation, tell me what do you think that means? As it turns out, businesses technically are not obligated to be socially responsible. However, it is an expectation of the employees, of their patrons, and of the communities that businesses do so. Businesses that are socially responsible are considered social enterprises because their businesses are utilized to solve social and environmental issues. Corporate social responsibility activities include developing relationships with employees and customers, making socially responsible investments, working in partnership with local communities, and practicing environmental protection and sustainability. Ways to practice corporate social responsibility including attending to environmental efforts, philanthropy, ethical labor practices, and volunteering. Those who can practice social responsibility is virtually anyone, but for this purposes, it can be any company or corporation um, that's doing business in communities, nonprofit organizations, and or their employees of each of the enterprises. The types of corporate social responsibilities include environmental sustainability initiatives, direct philanthropic giving campaigns, ethical business practices, and focusing on economic responsibilities. There are key areas of social responsibilities, and some of these areas include community relations or sponsoring community activities, employees and community training, and that includes training people in the community to take on responsibilities within a company, and sponsoring a cohesive global corporation of social responsibility platform, which includes raising awareness to the need of businesses to take on these type of initiatives and for to take on the practice of looking after their communities and their best interest thereof. Why do you think businesses practice corporate social responsibility, and how do you think they benefit from doing so? Before we answer this question, let's talk about nonprofit corporations and how they benefit from corporate social responsibility. Nonprofit organizations are slightly different from privately owned organizations. Corporations, they actually get funding via matching gift programs. They are able to recruit more volunteers to participate in their efforts and their programs. It makes it easier for them to forge partnerships with private and bigger corporations, and it also entitles them to various sources of different types of revenue. So when you answer the question as why do we think businesses practices corporate social responsibility, there are several reasons that come to mind. First, it increases the business competitive edge advantage over um, the other individuals working in their industry. It raises awareness to their brand, which is a different type of marketing technique, and it assists them with building trust within their own organization, as well as in the communities, the customers, and the patrons for their business. Private organizations benefit from corporate social responsibility because they have an opportunity to improve their public image. It is like increased media coverage, and so therefore a really good marketing tool. It makes employees feel like they're engaged in something purposeful, and thus it increases their morale and their willingness to engage in business opportunities. And it also attracts and retains any type of investors that may be looking at the company for business opportunities. Again, it's just really important to stress the primary reasons why corporations, both private and nonprofit, practice social responsibility. The three key points to keep in mind is increase their competitive advantage, it is to raise awareness to their brand, and is to build trust with their customers, employees, and the other patrons that in which they do business with. Do you think corporate social responsibility can be beneficial to employees as well? And if so, how do you feel employees benefit from the corporation's efforts to be socially responsible? Let's take a minute and go over a couple of the reasons employees benefit from the corporation's social responsibility efforts. Those include the corporation builds a positive environment in which employees can feel proud to work for. Pride also leads to better work habits, increased dedication, and thus increased productivity from all the employees within the company. It also has a capability of increasing the employees' willingness to participate in different activities and encourages creativity and making the work environment um, a more sensible and calming and more relaxed environment in which to work. It also encourages professional growth and personal growth within each employee. It builds stamina and morale, and therefore it makes employees feel good about themselves. It also leads to individuals in the company, employees wanting to take on the same type of efforts on their own, which is individual philanthropy, which is something that we see a lot in companies that spend a lot of time contributing to the social responsibilities within their communities. Human resource also plays a role in promoting corporate social responsibility. There are the direct connection between the employees and the owners, and thus there are certain things that human resource department can do to foster the mission of the businesses that participate in these type of activities. Some of the things that human resource department can do is implementing and encouraging green practices. That means making sure that the company is not being wasteful, that they're taking an active role in the communities as far as recycling efforts could be one of the things, but it also encourages employees to take part in those type of activities. It fosters a culture of social responsibility. Again, it makes employees feel that they are doing serving a great cause. Um, a lot of times, employees and their patrons and even investors include family members and friends in participating in corporate activities that the businesses take on to show the communities that they serve or that they're working in that they truly care about um, their efforts, their living conditions, their environmental conditions as well. Another thing that human resource can do is they can start sharing and communicating the value of what they're doing to show that they have or have taken on a great social responsibility within a community. Um, Nothing is of value if no one knows what your efforts are or what your purpose for doing these things are. And that's why it's important to get the information out, not only to the communities, but also to employees, because informed employees are usually employees that will participate in any positive efforts that a company is willing to take on. And finally, celebrate the success of the programs and the employees' contributions. Show them that their efforts have been beneficial. And sometimes that means holding employee forums and giving out accommodations or acknowledging the efforts of not only the corporation but also the efforts of the employees as well. What concerns do you feel will be associated with corporate social responsibility efforts? Some of these concerns include believing that the business would be open and honest. Individuals need to know that when you take on a task or you take on an effort that affects a large group of individuals, they want to know that the efforts are genuine, that there isn't some hidden agenda that's there that would cause them to feel as though there was some doubt in their efforts and their dedication to their efforts. Another concern is the fear that the products and service prices will increase. Sometimes individuals feel that if we're giving you something, um, then there's a price attached to it, which is not always the case. There are a lot of corporations, a lot of individuals, a lot of companies that truly have a passion for taking on many social responsibility tasks within the communities they serve. And so um, it's just a natural instinct of others sometimes to have doubt in the motives behind a great gesture. And then one of the other biggest concern is that um, even though the business or corporation may be performing services in certain areas, there are still rural areas and different aspects of a community that um, are not being served. And so one of the biggest concerns in the community is that they want the goodwill gestures to be spread evenly and honestly and openly amongst all of the citizens and not just a select few or the elite that can benefit from their efforts. If you want to find out more about a business's corporate social responsibility efforts and activities, you can go directly to their individual websites or you can find the information through other associated web searches. Corporate social responsibility is truly a way for business to bridge the gap between companies' profits, their employees, and customers and communities that they serve. It is an ethical practice that ensures businesses consider how social, environmental, economic, and human rights conditions are impacted when they are conducting business in their communities, and is a way of being active um, in community efforts, recruiting, um, training citizens in their communities so that they can actually transition into positions within the organization, is to help those who are less fortunate, and it's also just to show that everyone involved have the same purpose and intentions in mind, and that it is a joint effort between everyone to ensure that the social responsibility of all communities is taken care of, not just on a corporate level, but also on a community level as well. The references you see listed here were utilized to formulate the PowerPoint presentation for which you just encountered. If you want additional information on um, any aspect of corporate social responsibility, I encourage you to use any of the links listed to gain more information. And I thank you and everyone else for listening to this presentation. Thank you. Goodbye.